Hey everybody, it's ShadowStar here for my review of Power of the Doctor. Oh my god, is all I can say. Screw to your 60th, the amount of fan service in this episode is unbelievable! All leading up to this episode, I was wondering, oh my god, there's a lot in this, how am I going to cram it in? And holy shit, there was stuff we didn't even know was coming. You know, at first we thought, oh, Ace and Tegan, that's huge! And now, it just gets even bigger. So, there's a lot in this episode. Love or hate this episode, you cannot say this episode is boring, that's for sure. You can't say that. So, okay, look, I'm curious I'm sure there'll always be some negative people, but I can't imagine a reason not to. With so much fan service, at nothing else, you can at least enjoy this episode. But let's get on with it. Speaking of things that felt rushed, we start off with a hijack above a space train, which is pretty and cool, but Dan gets in some danger, and that's the end of Dan. Pfft. I was like, I knew this had to happen too, because like, all throughout the trailers, you never saw Dan, and it's like, he felt like this lost vestige that just had to be gotten rid of. It's like, sorry Dan, there's too much for you. Gotta get rid of you, buddy. So yeah, Dan goes, it's a pretty quick emotional scene, and he's gone. Don't worry, he comes back for a cameo near the end of the episode, but... oh well, that's the end of Dan, but everyone's back, the enemies too, including the Cybermen, not just the Cybermen, but the regenerating Cybermen from Series 12. So yeah, but the Master's here too. This time he's cosplaying Rasputin, which was fun. We get to have Rasputin and Tsar Nicholas, and then all these crazy hijinks happen, and... I suppose is that why Rasputin's death is so mysterious? Because the Master was really Rasputin? Sure, why not? But yeah, obviously the Master being in this episode is fun as always, and I will say, the Master really didn't get a demise at the end, which I kind of like. It leaves it open for possibilities. That way, if Russell or anyone else wants to use a Master, they've got a choice. They can either bring back Sasha, or they can bring in a new Master and just explain what happened. Totally cool either way. Although, you can't deny, the Master is abso-freaking-lutely amazing. I mean, he's the highlight of Series 12, and he's the highlight of... there's a lot of highlights of this episode. So, you know, the Master's freaking amazing. We get to see the Doctor regenerates into the Master, which I suppose was the plan from the TV movie. And so we didn't get to see a post-Doctor where so here's the thing. We always said, oh, we'll get to see a new Doctor wear Jodie's clothes. Well, we didn't. I'll explain that in a minute, but... at least we got to see the Master wearing Jodie's clothes, including not just her clothes, but also wearing, like, Seven's vest, has the recorder, the salary, there's, like... I will say, not just with cameos, but there is a hell of a lot of continuity references in this episode. There are so many continuity references, it's unbelievable. So, as I said, Ace and Tegan are in this episode. And both of them come with... there's so much fun in this episode. I just love Tegan in this episode. I mean, I used to find her annoying in the classic days, but now she's less annoying, and now she's just, I don't know the word for it. She's just that stubborn. She's stubborn, and her accent is less annoying. Thank goodness for that. But she's just more stubborn and in your face, and I love it. Ace is fun too. She's still so fun. It's great because Ace is one of my favorites as well. So the Daleks are here. I will say, I find it odd when this Dalek hologram appears, and it's like, oh, it's a good Dalek, and the Doctor's like, oh, I've never had one of those, and I'm thinking to myself, why? We've had multiple good Daleks. You know, you could have easily had this cameo be Rusty, the good Dalek, but instead it's just a brand new one. It would have been cool. I mean, there's already a billion trillion... what I like about this is more... there's fan service more to the classic years than anything else. Like... it's not a celebration of modern Who, it's a celebration of classic Who, which I suppose makes sense being it is the centenary special. I forgot it was that. It's not just a regeneration episode, but holy shit it is. Kate's in this episode too, and she's absolutely amazing. I mean, that's just me going to be going down a list. This person was here and they were amazing. No, there's a lot of good stuff. Like I said, with the Master being back, we get a lot of continuity references. Like, you know, we get the fact that the Master has interacted with so many of these companions is just so great too, because you get to have, like, Ace references the time the Master was a cat. The Master references Tegan's aunt, so, like, all these neat little references get to tie together, and it's brilliant. But we're going to get into that in a minute. Vinder gets to show up. He's kind of cool. He helps out Yaz a little bit, which is nice. It gives Yaz somebody to talk to when the Doctor is missing. But, let's get into the big bits. And I covered all the stuff that's in the trailers. So if for some reason you're watching this and you haven't seen the episode, go watch the episode now, because boy, are spoilers ahoy. But yes, I'm going to say it right now. Okay, so, with the Doctor being gone, they get trapped inside their own consciousness, and we get this kind of explanation what happens to the consciousnesses when they're after regeneration. Now, at first you see the Doctor in this white landscape, and I'm thinking, this reminds me of the place a timeless child with sound. So I thought, oh, here comes Ruth Doctor's cameo. No. Although she did get a cameo later, of course. But who makes a cameo? The first Doctor, played by, oh god, I forgot his name. The same guy who played him back in Twice Upon a Time. But, okay, so at first I saw that and I was like, holy shit, I leapt out of my chair. But then it got bigger. It's like, oh, this is really cool. They brought in the first Doctor, how nice. Then the sixth Doctor appears. I was like, oh, wow. Then the fifth, then the eighth, then the seventh. It's like, other than Tom Baker, every classic Doctor is here. Would have been cool if they got Tom Baker, but okay, still, they got the sixth. Oh, I don't know, Tom Baker's getting old, but still, they got the sixth, the fifth, the eighth, the seventh. Oh my god, the classic team, as I like to call them. Those four, I like to call them the classic team because they're always together. But they all get to show up, they all get to have a few lines talking to Jodie Whittaker about what regeneration is and not letting the Master take control, but what's really great is obviously then the Doctor becomes this hologram that kind of helps out Yaz, and it gets to basically be the Doctor even though the Doctor's not technically around. But things get even better because then the hologram appears to Ace and Tegan. And and then it transforms into their respective Doctors. So Seven gets to speak with Ace, which is so good, because Ace and Seven never got a goodbye on screen. Yes, I know there's stuff off screen, but on screen they never had a goodbye. So this is the closest you'll get to an on-screen goodbye to them. Meanwhile, Tegan does too, and it's just so great to see them interact. Oh man, to see these two interacting is just brilliant. They're both here. Everyone is here. Like I said, I understand if you have issues with Jodie Whittaker or Chris Chibnall. But if you don't enjoy these appearances, you're probably not a classic fan. If you're a classic fan, you are eating good. Tegan, of course, gets to make a reference to Adric as well. I will say this. If you're somebody who is a fan of Modern Who, and you plan on going through Classic 2, like, say, a few certain reaction channels, there's quite a bit of spoilers in this, so, ouch, but sorry, that's the bullet you're going to have to bite to all those reaction channels, but getting to the point, man, I was close to having tears in my eyes when that happened, and I'm not even somebody who grew up with these people, but, like, I was giddy with excitement and almost had tears in my eyes. Seeing Tegan and the Fifth Doctor interact, I'm thinking to myself, they're interacting on screen in an official capacity, people. This is beautiful. Oh my god, there was so much in this episode. I was genuinely worried that Kate was going to get transformed, but no, she didn't. But there's a lot in this episode. Like I said, you can't say it's boring. But yeah, and that's not even the end of the cameos. So, okay, I'll skip ahead a bit, but after everyone is gone, first Graham, backtracking, but when Ace is in the volcano in Bolivia, Graham shows up. How he got to a volcano? Fuck if I know. I mean, I guess they're both in South Africa, because also Ryan was in Patagonia. Don't know where he was, but he was like one of the few. He's basically the only person who didn't get to make a cameo. But Graham shows up. Graham, at the end, gets to have a few moments with Dan. I'm like, oh my god, the two best companions from 13's era interacting with each other. Brilliant. But where are they going? They're going to a meeting of all the former companions. I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, think back to, say, when, in the Sarah Jane Adventures, when Joe and Sarah Jane interact, I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is such a beautiful moment, them getting to be together. Everyone is here. Like, I'm actually struggling to think of a companion who isn't in this episode. Who wouldn't, okay, Romana's not here, Nissa's not here, fair enough. But pretty much everyone else is, which is fine. But Mel from the Seventh Doctor is here. Joe Grant is here. And Ian is here. Holy shit, they've got everyone. They've got, 50th and 60th, eat your heart out. I'm thinking to myself, okay, to everyone who was like, oh, I don't know what's going to be in the 60th, it's just David Tennant and Donna Noble. Who fucking cares? Look at this episode. Look at all the companions. Fuck that. Oh my god, screw the 50th. This is what we need. I'm not saying the 50th wasn't bad, but look at all the companions and cameos. This is a true celebration. It's like when the 5 Doctors had tried to squeeze in as many cameos as they could, and they did. I'm thinking to myself, oh, when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's just going to be all the people in this episode. Then I saw other people sitting around. I was like, wait, who is that? And then I saw it was Mel, Joe, Ian. I was like, oh my god, everyone's here. I can't believe it. I'm sorry, this is just me. I know this is just me going on about being, oh, I'm so happy, all the cameos, but how can you not love it? How can you not love it, okay? So, yeah, like I said, the Master is absolutely freaking amazing. We get to have some, honestly, before all the craziness takes off, the Master being around, I love when the Master's in control, the Master, when he was hijacking Unit's building and just talking to everyone, his confrontations with Ace and Tegan, so, there was very few bad moments in this episode. Okay, yes, Dan's exit is rushed. I will say, there is no time. I do like the fact that they actually reference how there's no time for slowing down. Everyone's here, but that means there's no time for slowing down. A thing that Yaz always says. But having everyone in TARDIS was fun, obviously. But then, even the Ruth Doctor gets to make a cameo as that hologram. Seeing the Doctors as their holograms, it's like, oh my god, everyone's here. They found a way to bring back basically almost every Doctor. Well, not every Doctor, but still. And... well, actually, they did, especially when we get into the ending. But yeah. And then I'm thinking to myself, at the very end, we're getting there, Master's defeated. I'm thinking to myself, how's the Doctor going to regenerate? She tells this power source to blow up the planet, and the Master shows up and controls it, and it still blows up the planet. And I suppose the Master was on that planet, so it still looks like the Master was blown up with the planet, so... I mean, then again, the Master survived many times. I mean, he was on Gallifrey when it blew up. Missy supposedly was supposed to never die, but she did. So, I suppose the Master can easily come back from this. But anyway, the power source, he manages to flick it back where it still destroys the planet, but it hits the Doctor. Obviously, she doesn't die, but this is what triggers her regeneration. I'm thinking to myself, there we go. And I will say, compared to every other regeneration we've had, with the exception of 9... this is not a drawn-out regeneration. She says some goodbyes to Yaz, and then obviously we get that beautiful scene with all the companions talking to each other, which is absolutely freaking great. Oh my god, Big Finish is going to have a field day. And then, she has a quick scene where she sits with Yaz, but she says, this is where I have to go alone. So Yaz says goodbye. Also, to all the shipping fans, sorry, it ain't happening. There was no references to the shipping, by the way. Yaz and 13, not happening. But anyway, yeah, she says goodbye to Yaz, and then I like how she says, oh, I just want to see the sunset last time, and then we get this big regeneration. It's less glowy and more electrical this time. Way more electrical. And no, it's not the image that was shown in the trailer, to anyone who was saying that. I told you that, although I was wrong too. Back when I originally saw the trailer, I said that lights reminds me of when the Ruth Doctor got their memories back. That is one thing that never happened. The Doctor never gets their Timeless Child memories. The Timeless Child, other than the Ruth Doctor making a cameo, made no references whatsoever in this episode. So yeah. But anyway, yes, we see the sunset. It's a beautiful scene. And then she regenerates. And all through this episode, I'm thinking, who's it going to be? Is it going to be David Tennant or Ncuti Gatwa? I didn't know. like, legitimately, I didn't know. Until now. It's David Tennant. David Tennant isn't... Okay, I mean, we already knew something was happening with David Tennant because we've all seen the filming pictures. That's not the surprise. We knew it was David Tennant. I was just not sure whether, say, she was gonna regenerate into Ncuti Gatwa and then something happens with David Tennant. But no, she's regenerating back into David Tennant. And I find it interesting where it doesn't just transform her, it transformed her clothing into, well, not David Tennant's clothes, because it's not David Tennant's clothes, because it's not the brown jacket, it's a blue jacket which he's never worn. And of course, what is his opening line? I saw him look at his mouth and think to himself, oh my god, it's just like the teeth. And then he says, I know these teeth. And then of course, what's his line's going to be? He's going to say the 3 words, what? And then that's it. So yeah. That, my friends, was Power of the Doctor. Holy shit. There really isn't that much I can complain about, honestly. Like, there was nothing boring. Okay, Dan's exit was a little rushed. The pacing was quick. I will say, we didn't get a drawn-out, no big speech like 12 or 11, no crazy dramatic music like 10. This was a kind of nice and simple regeneration, but nothing crazy. Not simple, but nice. Chibnall, you did well. You closed the book well. That is the end of Jodie Whittaker. That is the end of Chris Chibnall. I'll give that. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to move away from rankings, but let's just give it a 9.5. Because holy shit, that's like. I try not to let fan service win, but how can you not? I mean, you got to remember, this is a centenary special, so it makes sense there's a whole lot of fan service. So yeah. No trailer, by the way, no trailer. No trailer at the end of the episode. If there was like a trailer uploaded moments later, I haven't seen it yet. I literally woke up, watched the episode, that's it. So yeah, I don't know anything that's been revealed. We'll find out, but in terms of this episode, there was no trailer, which is fine. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the end of an era. Guys, that's the end of an era. That's crazy. I mean, it definitely feels different to when I was so sad to say goodbye to Capaldi. But saying goodbye to Jodie, I mean, it is the end of an era. It's been one hell of a ride, like, it's definitely had its ups and downs, the Jodie Whittaker era, we can all agree there. Oh boy, Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker have had their share of controversies. I'm not as negative on, obviously, as some people are, but we can't deny it. It's had some ups and downs, and to say this, although Capaldi was the first time I'd seen a regeneration as it airs, Jodie Whittaker was the first Doctor I've seen start to finish as it airs. Because when I first started watching Doctor Who, Capaldi had already done his first season. So, to be able to go through the ride of an entire Doctor's run, seeing everything unfold on social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it's been one hell of a ride, and to review these episodes has been fun, and obviously I'll review any episodes that come out, and until then I'll be reviewing classic episodes, but anyway, I'm dragging this on. This episode went by for 90 minutes, nothing was slow, nothing was boring. Every few minutes you were going, holy crap, like, it was whether it was an amazing moment with Ace and Tegan, saying holy crap because Graham's here, then you say holy crap because, like, Dan's here, then Joe's here, then Ian and Mel and Kate, and it's like, one after the other, and then holy crap at the Doctor's, just like, this is going to be an episode I can't wait to see. I haven't really looked at the reception online. I wanted to do my review before I saw any other opinions. I don't know what the common opinion is, so it'll be fun to see. But anyway, I'm dragging this ending on long enough. This is the end of the Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall era. So, goodbye to them, and goodbye to you. I will see you next week for more Doctor Who reviews and other things as well. See you next time, guys.